He hit Kenshin?
Reverse backhand.
Kenshin! How could you let yourself get all beaten up? What happened to reading the other guy's moves? You're supposed to be so good at that!
Okay, in this video I try to analyze a set of 9 matches between me and this Lucky Chloe player. What made these matches very interesting was the fact that I actually lost 4 matches in a row initially. And I lost so fast. At the end of those 4 matches, I was absolutely speechless. Because this is something that does not happen that much to me. I didn't think this would happen to me in this day and age. You know, in the year 2021, I didn't think I would lose in this manner. But you know what they say, man, you gotta be humble. Sometimes it happens. I would say that my response after getting washed 4 matches straight is one of the reasons why this offers such a good example of adaptation, regaining one's composure, and overall critical thinking in the Lucky Chloe matchup. So this first match, I'm going to actually try to play it out in its entirety. So I'm not going to focus too much on the small details. You can kind of see what's happening. And what you guys are seeing is I'm getting hit by one too many hop kicks. You see? Usually when you get hit by a hop kick, it's a sign of a much greater issue. And the issue here is definitely my timing. Because my timing was off, it put me in very dangerous situations where I was getting counter hit and I was getting clipped by moves that I shouldn't be getting clipped by. And now that in turn leads to some hesitation, which kind of further exacerbates that timing issue. After being put on tilt like that, it kind of makes me lose faith in my buttons and my ability to punish. And everything kind of just starts going downhill from there. Actually, to be honest, now that I'm looking back at this footage, it seems like I'm playing on autopilot. As much as I hate to admit it, this seems to be the case. I notice that whenever I go on autopilot, I tend to rely too much on the frame data without taking into account the spacing between me and my opponent. Additionally, I tend to treat the opponent as if they know as much information as I do, and that's also a classic trap. You don't want to assume that the opponent is going to be 100% respectful right off the bat. At the very least, you have to test them first. You have to throw something out and then observe how they respond to it. But we're still trying, never give up, as they say. But at this point, oh man, see, at this point it's just too late. The momentum is totally on his side, and I'm not sure how I can bring it back. With such a huge life deficit at this point in the match and having all of my offensive reads not work out at all, it was very hard to kind of formulate any plan for making a comeback. Okay, so that was Cut CC 0, Lucky Chloe 1. Okay, now let's go into more detail. We're going to hone in on the specific moments where I made mistakes. So these next 3 matches are going to kind of blend into each other. After seeing that he doesn't finish the string, I decide to go for a down 4, but he low parries it. In my head, I was like, how did he know I was going to do that? When I wasn't pressing any buttons, I would get hit by 2 throws, a 1+2 throw, and then a generic throw from back turn. Sometimes I would backdash too much, so then when it comes time to actually whiff punish, I'm not in the correct range to do so. And here, you can see that, what the heck? How did I get clipped by that? Well, okay, if you play the footage back, you'll see the backdash actually failed me. Remember, there's a window of time where you're actually susceptible to getting hit by mids, and this is good proof of that. When I first saw this little exchange, I thought it was a little bit dangerous, but now that I look back at it, it doesn't seem so bad because lost down back 3 hits so low, the Lucky Chloe might not be able to crush it in time. But in general, that's still kind of risky. Now this for sure is risky, trying to challenge Lucky Chloe's hop kick. Man, this hop kick is on a completely different level, man. I just don't, I don't know what to say about it. Again, I misjudged the range right here. Notice that he did up neutral 3 instead of up forward 3, so it's even harder to whiff punish. I was really getting tripped up by the fact that he was never finishing this string. He always did the first 2 hits only, which makes sense because the last hit is launch punishable. But still, since I didn't know the frame data of that second move on block, it kind of put me in an awkward situation where I was like, I'm not sure what to do afterwards, and then I get hit by a hop kick. Here I'm finally starting to make some adjustments. I'm not overextending as much. I'm not falling for those traps. But I'm still misjudging the ranges sometimes, and I'm letting Lucky Chloe dictate the pace of the match. Once again, the hop kick reigns supreme. You can definitely see how powerful that is. Just doing a move into a hop kick is just like such an effective strategy. Especially when there's some space involved, it's very difficult to challenge this move. If there's a clash, Lucky Chloe will most likely win. And now he starts doing while running 3+4, so that's another thing I have to look out for. It's crazy how in these first 4 matches, nothing was going my way at all. The reads I was doing, the defensive options that I was doing, it felt like the right thing to do at the time, but it's just, I was so unfortunate. All the luck was going to Lucky Chloe. All the hop kicks are going to Lucky Chloe too. Like, can I get a hop kick in there? You know what I'm saying? Now this moment right here, this really rattled my brain. What? That can't be right. Now surely that has to be just online tactics, right? But let's make sure though. Let's test this out in practice mode.
Wow.
Man, it's actually a real thing. And this is why you can never assume things, ladies and gentlemen. You have to test things out. Only then can you be truly prepared. Fortunately, thanks to this, I was able to learn that you can actually block after doing a single down forward 1. So at least there's that. But who says we have to respond with a down forward 1 every single time? A much better answer would be Law's back 4. Now I am a very big fan of this move, because even though it's 1 frame slower than a down forward 1, you get something very valuable in return. You get peace of mind. I want you guys to make a mental note of this move. Pay attention to the way that I'm using it, because for the rest of the video, it quickly becomes one of my most important tools for beating Lucky Chloe. That's how important it is. Anyways, the score is currently Cussy 0, Lucky Chloe 3. Just when I thought things were getting better, man, I got careless. And right here you can see, BAM! We got hit by the dump truck. Press F in the chat to pay respects. Here I tried to get more damage by finishing the string, but he knew to duck it. So I kept that in mind. Back 4-3, bad. Back 4 by itself, godlike. These were 2 moves that I didn't know were launch punishable, so I missed out on a lot of damage. I could have sworn that second move was minus 13 or something. Here, since I saw that time was running out, I decided to get cute with it, but it didn't work out. You see, I just couldn't control my impulse to press buttons after these situations, and that's how I get hit by the hop kick. And then eventually I became so frustrated that I became a true Law player with a down 2-3, and that's how I lost my 4th match. As I was staring at this you lose screen, what was going through my mind was a mixture of surprise and embarrassment. I mean, here I am on YouTube, I'm making all these defensive guides, and I have some specific ones for Lucky Chloe too. But in these matches, it just all goes out the window. In this mental state, my playstyle could have very easily morphed into being more salty, tilting, and aggressive. But what happened instead was that I stayed calm and I became oddly more optimistic, because it came from a point of having fun. And I was having fun. I didn't want to stop playing the matches. So I told myself I was going to play just a couple more. And if I lose, that's okay. I'm just going to go to sleep, brush it off, and then tomorrow I'm going to continue training. But the main thing was I didn't want to give up. I wanted to just give it another couple of shots, because I knew I had it in me. And I'm very happy that that's what happened, because I was able to really kick my adaptation into high gear at that point. From the time that I hit rematch to the moment that the 5th match started, there were 3 main things that I wanted to start doing right away. Number 1 was to react to throws and break them. Specifically, there's that 1+2 throw that would put you in back turn, which is very dangerous. And then there was a throw that he would do when he was back turn. He would usually do it out of a roll to mask it a little bit. The second thing was to use more dependable mid checks wisely. This means I'm making a conscious effort to not be on autopilot. I'm picking my shots, I'm using moves with good, reliable hitboxes. I'm not going to use them all the time, but I know that when I do use it, I can depend on it. One of Law's greatest mids is, of course, back 4. It's such a good move because it covers sidestep, ducking, hop kicking, and I think even backdash to an extent too. So it's a great move to tame the craziness. Another important mid is 3+4, 4 for whiff punishing. But I have to keep in mind that I can't just use it anytime I see a whiff. Only by using it wisely, when I see that I'm in the right range to do so, then it becomes a dependable mid check. The third thing that I was focused on doing was to avoid getting counter hit. So I have to give myself a fighting chance. I have to give myself an opportunity to break throws, to whiff punish, block punish, inflict damage, and overall just start formulating my own game plan. Part of what that game plan consisted of was an acceptance of getting hit by lows. From a risk reward perspective, 1 counter hit launch is equivalent to roughly 10 low pokes, you could say. So it's not the end of the world, you get hit by a couple of them. The important thing was to not be tempted by every opening and jump in blindly, because that's how you subject yourself to dangerous, scrambly situations, the realm of the unknown. Martial Law, he thrives in the neutral, whereas Lucky Chloe, she thrives in the casino. Instead of subjecting myself to such a risky game of chance, I could just stay at a more comfortable range. Yeah, I might get hit by a couple of lows here and there, but at least I get to maintain my sanity. The more you don't overextend, the more you shift the conversation of the match towards a more neutral state. And that's the way I like to play. And now, regardless of the outcome, I can win and lose on my own terms. There's nothing really complicated about any of this. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to start implementing these adaptations immediately. All you need to do is just slow down a little bit and then start reflecting on yourself. Break throws, do more mids, don't get counter hit. It's as simple as that.
I saw both his punch and his backhand coming, but his arm stretched very slightly, right in front of my eyes.
His arm stretched?
So it's a spell, is it? Unfortunately, I must break that spell first.
It's the Shinken stance.
The sword that believes. It's an old but solid defensive swordsmanship technique that allows you to react quickly to any changes in the opponent.
Shinken. That's a defensive stance that doesn't lend itself well to making an attack.
His game plan was very strong. It made me scared to do highs and lows because of this. However, I started noticing certain patterns in the timing of his actions. I noticed that he would fuzzy duck after doing certain moves. He would sidestep after certain situations. And he would hop kick after being at a certain range. It made me believe that there was a flowchart within a flowchart, if you will. All of these things are very effective, but it doesn't matter how effective it is, as long as I don't fall for it. The best way to remain safe from these flowcharts is to simply block and observe. Law's forward 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 3 can be a pretty good move if used sparingly. A lot of people still think it's mid-high, but it's really mid-mid and relatively safe because of the pushback. And now with about 12 seconds left on the clock, I try to maintain my life lead and not get hit by anything crazy. And now we break the throws. And then we keep him honest with those mid-checks. Okay, plus frames into pressure, going in and out. Notice how I'm not overstaying my welcome. I'm not trying to get counter hit right now. Okay, never mind. I did get counter hit. It worked out in my favor. Man, I keep on messing up my DSS execution, but I think it's worth it to attempt it every single time. Well, we did a low poke into a backdash. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that was pretty good. Oh man, see, like, yo, to Wolf VZ's credit, his sidesteps is actually really good. Anytime he sidesteps, I'm actually low-key terrified. Yeah, that round was all him. I totally lost that one. You can see how I'm getting some damage through frame traps, because he's not respecting the frame data. The question is, how do I initiate those frame traps more frequently and safely without getting hit by a hop kick? Oh man, yo, he tried hop kick right there. But the back four kept him honest. Here I get hit by some lows, but like I said before, it's not too bad. There's a big difference between calmly blocking and guessing wrong, and playing keep out and getting counter hit in the process. Okay, got hit by one throw. Never again though. I'm on a mission to break all the throws. Right now he's seeing that I'm respecting the Cali roll too much, so he starts throwing out more damaging lows. Starts pressuring with down forward ones and one jabs and some low pokes. Fortunately I managed to get a low parry right here. I'm not sure if I won this round, but... oh, maybe I did win this round. No, I didn't win this round. His side steps. I was being too linear and predictable with my offense. I think that comes back to bite me in the butt later, but for now, we're breaking throws. Ugh, I keep retaliating after that. That's why the hop kick keeps getting me. In retrospect, it seems so obvious that Lucky Chloe's forward forward 3 creates an awkward push block situation, where pressing a button afterwards is very dangerous. But during a real match when everything is very fast paced, if you're not actively observing the cause and effect of things, these important nuances can slip right by. He whiffed the throw, but I tried to break it anyways. Okay, whiff punishment. Trying to regain back my composure. Alright. Okay, Laws 1-1-2 into down forward 2. The classic. When they don't respect the frame data, that's when you give them the education. So in this final round of this 5th match, things are getting blocked, but not getting punished optimally. Can I just take a moment to say that being able to break throws consistently is such a great morale booster. There's nothing quite like it. With throw breaking comes freedom, the ability to play the way that you want to play. It's really nice, it's quite liberating. This combined with the back 4 of course, makes for some good fundamental Tekken. I didn't attempt to whip punish or anything because of the spacing. I had a feeling he was going to go for a while running 3, so I deliberately threw out a high jab to try to float him out. I think at a certain range, it's a pretty okay risk to take. I expected him to do a hop kick here, but he doesn't. See, the throws kept me safe and allowed me to continue playing neutral. It lets you play the way that you want to play. Now with 4 seconds on the clock, we're able to just close it out with some pokes. And that's the first match that I won. You know, I'm surprised this guy keeps rematching. Much appreciated, Wolf VZ. Even back forward couldn't save me there. I was trying to dash forward to close the space, which meant I was more likely to get a counter hit. Ooh, sidestep after being at -3. Very nice. And very scary. Okay, mid pokes, throw breaking. Very nice, backdashing, no whiff punishment. I don't know what that was. Ooh, nice block punishment. You know, speaking of this move right here, back turn forward 3+4, 3+4, 3+4. Someone left a comment on one of my videos that Law has a more optimal OS punish for this. So let's test it out. Ooh, yeah, this is actually pretty nice. You actually have to be pretty fast in recognizing that she cancels to whiff punish with 3+4, but it's not so bad. It's not so bad. I think with a bit of practice, this can be very reliable. Yo, Lucky Chloe cannot do this for free against Law. She can do it if she wants to, but she's gonna eat 40 plus damage every time, so be my guest. This was a good opportunity to test my opponent's frame data knowledge, to categorize them. Are they a patient player that's respectful, or are they an impatient player that's disrespectful? Also, he tried sidestepping. That's actually pretty smart. However, being at -8 and then trying to sidestep is a pretty tall order, especially against Law's down 4-2. Ooh, how many times have I gotten hit by this? Too many times to count. Persistence wears down resistance. I also need to keep in mind the pushback on her while standing 1-4. To punish this, I have to use something long range like 3+4-4. Two things that I should have done more of is throws and hop kicks. This right here was my very first and only hop kick in this entire set. Oh man, check out that dash block right there. Here I underestimated Wolf VZ's string knowledge and punishment. Very good patience on his part. This moment might seem unimportant, but it's actually one of my favorite moments because it shows me consciously wrestling with my autopilot tendencies. See that stutter step right there? That's hesitation. And not all hesitation is necessarily bad. Kind of like how pain receptors warn you of imminent danger, my hesitation here was alerting me of a potential space trap. It's almost as if it was telling me, hey, before you take an action, consider the spacing. Does it really seem like a good idea to advance and press a button right now? Probably not. You can just hang back and relax. Since I was still able to maintain my composure, I still have mental energy to do things like break throws. Ah yeah. We stay letting things go. Well, kinda. And we stay breaking throws. That's the solid combination of fundamentals that I like to see. This 7th match is probably one of my best ones, because I won 3 rounds straight, while continuing to do a lot of good things in the process. It's a good thing I never tried to press after down back 3, because that thing is +8 on hit. Alright, a little bit of craziness, execution on point, some more craziness, execution still on point. Throwing a slide mix up in there. Are we gonna do another one? No need to be greedy, We're playing the slow fundamental game right here. Another example of not overextending. If I were to get hit by that counter hit low right there, it could have potentially put me in a very bad spot. Because I was able to maintain my life lead and stay safe, it made my job a lot easier, because now all I need to do is just harass him with back 4. The back 4 cancelling out the hop kick. You love to see it. On the screen it may look like I'm not doing much. However, behind the scenes, my mind was working hard, observing and thinking critically. You can see my general game plan taking shape. It's all about risk mitigation. I'm betting that my throw breaks will avoid a lot of unnecessary damage. The back 4, mid checks, and the 3+4 whip punishes will net me the damage. And by not getting counter hit, I'm forcing him to play more risky. I'm forcing him to take more risks, which will then lead to me getting more damage again off those whip punishes and block punish. And I just rinse and repeat that cycle. Because Lucky Chloe doesn't have an accessible hell sweep, it's more than likely that he was going to try to make a comeback using pokes, plus frames, and craziness. So I can afford to take these low pokes. I can afford to turtle up because in the neutral phases of the match before, I was playing safe and not taking damage. Think of my playing lame as a return on investment, you know what I'm saying? Here we got some solid whip punishment going on, followed by a sprinkle of craziness. Yeah, see, just randomly throwing out forward, 3 is kind of good because he's not punishing it. I haven't even attempted to do gimmicks like this, down back 3+4 to while standing 2. But it's a good idea to throw it out every once in a while. This moment was kind of funny. I was trying to do legend kick so I can be +8 again. For some reason, an unblockable came out. Fortunately, Law can cancel his unblockable by tapping up twice. So that was nice. But then he took it as disrespect, and then he responded with an unblockable of his own. But fortunately, I was able to recognize that and then float him out of it. So everything worked out in the end. I wish I could say that I won the next match, but life doesn't always work out that way. Even though I made adjustments, Wolf VZ is also making adjustments. It is in the nature of a fighting game to be a two-player endeavor, unlike a single-player boss battle against the CPU. It's important to make adaptations, but it's also important to recognize that you can't be content with staying at that level. Adaptation doesn't net you a free win, but it does let you manage the difficulty a little bit better. So now let's see how I lost this 8th match. All in all, I wasn't playing that badly. However, there were certain things that Wolfie Z was doing that was slipping under the radar and was giving him a lot of mileage. I wasn't able to recognize these things fast enough and put a stop to it. First off, while running 3+4 is coming out a lot more frequently now. Now it's becoming a threat. That in turn was putting me in more dangerous Okizeme situations that I didn't know how to get out of, so I was taking on more damage than I needed to. These two problems could potentially have been brushed aside if I ended the matches quickly enough. However, I allowed for things to drag on too long because of suboptimal punishes. During those crucial moments when a correct punish could have ended the round, I let Lucky Chloe live. I gave her another chance to attack my ankles. And I know I said before that I wasn't too worried about Lucky Chloe's low pokes, but when my life is this low, it became something that I couldn't ignore anymore. I should have done 2 more back 4s. This round wasn't too bad because even though I cut it close, I was still able to close out the round. But it definitely foreshadows my future struggles that's to come. One could say that I was being too passive in this match, that I wasn't being proactive enough in asserting my offensive pressure in order to inflict damage, and that would be a very fair assessment. However, I'm going to be a little bit stubborn here, and I'm going to say that I had faith in my defensive game plan, that I could have won this match. It's just that I wasn't fundamentally sound enough to back up my defense. Yeah, this just sucks. Who knew you could lose so much health in 5 seconds? And here in the span of 11 seconds, I lose all of my health. Notice how I didn't press any buttons. That's how traumatized I was by those Lucky Chloe hopkicks. So that's how I lost my 8th match. But honestly, it wasn't as bad of a loss as those first 4 matches. This is what I like to call a good loss. A good loss is where you lose on your own terms. What that means is you are still able to be yourself while playing. You don't feel like you are forced to become someone else, to adopt a different playstyle in order to win. Those are my favorite kinds of matches, when you can play on your own terms. So now, the burden is up to me to adapt to his adaptation of my original adaptation. So let's do this.
No matter how solid the defense of the Shinken stance, it's impossible to evade the Shinwan spell.
He did it!
He dodged it!
His spell is actually caused by the horizontal stripes he has on his arms.
The horizontal stripes on his arms can create the illusion. Things look wider than they really are, and that was making him misjudge the distance.
That Shinken stance of yours, it wasn't meant only to be defensive. It was also meant to measure the actual length of my arm.
So Kenshin was using the reverse blade sword like a ruler.
I'm impressed, Batusai. It appears that I took you too lightly.
Acknowledgement of your opponent's strengths is very important. Man, you can see how good Wolfie Z's sidesteps and pokes are. I'm not going to even try to challenge him in that arena too much. I have my mind focused on the 3 principles. That's where I'm trying to strengthen my weaknesses. Ooh, nice whiff punish. Nice low, but only one low. Because we have the patience to not overextend. I don't agree with my use of Rage Art right there. I feel like I could have used it for something else. But because of that Rage Art, the match enters a different state. Because now the Rage Art puts us at a very interesting spacing. Because I noticed that we were so far apart, and because while running 3+4 is fresh in my mind from the previous match, I saw the ideal conditions for baiting another while running 3+4 to come out. But I also acknowledged that it was equally likely that he was going to do a while running 3, which was a mid, and so by default, I was ready to block standing, and if I saw that the low animation was coming out, then I pressed down back. Fortunately, this is exactly what happened. The bad thing is I messed up my punish, so it wasn't as sweet a victory as it could have been. This match starts off very scrambly and borderline dangerous. I recognized this and so went back to my roots of safe, compact play. The theme of this round is definitely, in back 4 we trust. With back 4, we can go to the promised land. With this move, I'm establishing a no step zone, a no duck zone, and a no craziness zone. If you want to challenge it, go ahead. But you're gonna have to pay a fee of getting hit in the face by back 4. Yo, if Bruce Lee was alive today, he would look at this and be like, that's someone who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. This right here is a masterclass of normal solid Tekken. Next time one of your friends complain that Tekken has too many moves to memorize, just show him this clip. Okay, try to play a little bit of keep out with sidestep 3+4, drop the combo, but I managed to remain patient by baiting out the rage art right here. It's always a good sign when you can remember that rage arts exist. Blocking when you are unsure of what to do next is a pretty good habit. I'm not saying to be a pushover and be scared of everything. However, when people challenge things and press buttons, the reasoning is usually something along the lines of, I'm frustrated and I want to take my turn back. And I don't think that's a good enough reason, most of the time. I understand, of course, that being spontaneous is important. Sometimes, improvisation, being the first to act, going with the flow, can be very powerful in giving you the momentum. If the energy is right, sure, you can start overextending more than usual. But in a low stakes match like this, an online match, there's really no need to be that sweaty. Since the goal is to learn, you might as well create some ground rules and make an effort to follow them and stay disciplined. Maybe I was blocking too much right here, because after this whiff punish, I wasn't being proactive or reactive enough to close out the round. I think a lot of people have problems closing out a round, me included as well. As you can see right here, I made so many mistakes. I let so many game-winning moments pass by. Sometimes your brain just freezes up. Okay, here I could have punished with up forward 1-3, but my mind was racing so fast because of the previous mistakes that at that particular moment in time, punishment wasn't a priority. And so my brain defaulted to just predictable offense, and that ended up costing me the round. But if there's anything that I learned in these 8 matches so far, it's that no matter how bad things get, as long as you maintain that sense of who you are in a match, things will be okay. I think things will work out fine. You have to remember the big picture of adaptation, of believing in yourself, and believing in your decisions. And I don't see how you can go wrong with that mindset. It's pretty solid if you ask me. This is why I feel these matches are worth sharing. They demonstrate adversity, overcoming adversity, and an understanding that there is still work to be done. You guys know the song that plays at the end of Yu Yu Hakusho? The title of that song is called The Homework Never Ends. And very similarly here in fighting games, the adaptation never truly ends because you are constantly improving your character and player matchup knowledge. Your opponents will be doing the same, which adds to the whole dynamic. It can definitely be stressful sometimes, trying to constantly one-up each other. But I would say the struggle makes achieving your goals much more rewarding. Yeah man, fighting games are hard. Yet despite that fact, we all still wake up the next day and continue grinding. So there's something to be said there. It's hard, but it's worthwhile. This is CutCC signing off. Until next time.